dropped down 2 places since the start. Round the outside line goes Danny, who now goes for the race lead, but he's fighting back on Prix for life at the minute, and the Red Bull just about holding his position. And here for round 5 is going to win the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. Malou wins here in Baku. And good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome along to ERS Racing League on the Sunday nights for T5 here for the 5th round of the season. And we find ourselves here at Silverstone Circuit, the British Grand Prix, 2 times then in 1 week that I get to commentate this track. And what a circuit it is then here, of course, in the United Kingdom, and the 5th round of the season. But there we go, 16 drivers then join us tonight, and quite a nice little pack at the minute that we have. Hopefully we get some good action tonight. It looks like we should do. But 15 minutes of qualifying on the clock, and it's good to see some of you here tonight. Of course, we are on my account, as I for some reason the login was not working properly for ERS, but I believe that should be okay for next week, hopefully. But we'll sort that out. Well, there we go then. Yes, 16 drivers here for the British Grand Prix. We have a short qualifying first of all, and then we have a 50% race after that. That is the format for tonight. And should be quite a nice one. 16 people here. It is Tesnold, Monkey, Paul, Andy, Edu, Vortex, Peter Schwartz, DJ Forms, Rich, Jordi, Sergio Perez, Condals, Lenka, Diego, Andre, Kian and Oken are your drivers who join us this evening. And not anybody that has set a time just yet, but many drivers making their way around. And will not be long before the first time of the day is on the board. Sergio Perez then, the first driver to do so. 130.299, quickly beaten by Kian in the Haas. He sets a 126.824 then. And he is quickly the quickest driver here at the minute. Kian then, second place, but Tesno now a 126.8, much faster then for the McLaren. And he is now the quickest driver on the grid at the moment. It is Andre now into second place in the Racing Bull, 127.1 then, about 0.3 of a second away there from Tesno's time. But not a bad effort at all then from Andre. Gets himself up into P2. Kian third, Sergio Perez then in the early stages in P5. But if anyone's in the chat then tonight, make sure you drop the channel a follow. And give us a race prediction or qualifying prediction first of all. Who do you think is going to be on pole position? These are some really quick lap times around here in Silverstone. It's a 126.176 for Diego, who is now quicker than Tesno in the Alpine on provisional pole in the very early stages. Still 13 minutes remaining of this quali, and waiting for a lot of drivers to get their times on the board. Condals then in the Mercedes. He has gone quickest in the middle sector. Now towards the, never mind, in the pit lane he goes. That'll be the end of his attempt at a lap. Does not go round and doesn't set a lap today. Lenka then on and out on a hot lap all the way around the flying right hand side then. And up towards the final chicane. Can this Williams set a good time here then? His first time of the afternoon for Lenka. It's going to be P7 to kickstart this quali off. 129.201. Not really near anybody there with that time. Has a bit of an improvement to do if he wants to get into P6 with our pool. Monkey then, P10. And Monkey at the moment, through the first sector he goes. And we'll find out if this is going to be a good lap time for him very soon. Peter Schwartz, unfortunately, has invalidated on this go-around. I'm not too sure if anybody else is on flying laps at the moment. I don't think they are, so we're going to go back to Monkey then. and see what he's got in store for us then. He's been through the first sector now, of course, his first time of the day. Currently down in 10th position in this session. Thank you very much for the follow, Diego. I appreciate that very much, mate. We are going up now I think we're on 831 now or something like that, which is brilliant. But Monkey up towards Maggots and Beckett's, then just been through Cop's corner. And not looking too bad at the minute, but of course we can't see if he's improving or not on this lap time, just because he hasn't been round yet. This is his first outing of the day, and it is apparently purple in the middle sector then for Monkey. It's a 103, as he gets a bit of a slipstream there from the Williams of Lenker, I believe that was. Now gets the overtake, and now through he goes towards the final few corners, in towards the final chicane. Can Monkey get any higher on the grid this evening then? The McLaren up towards the line, flying, and crosses the line here in Silverstone. It's going to be P6 to kickstart this Grand Prix off for him. His teammate Tesnold up in second place, and he's found 3 attempts on the previous lap around, but Tesnold's still not enough there to get ahead of Diego. Yeah, Peter Schwartz in 11 then has invalidated his lap. Lenker in 8th at the moment. This is a hot lap for him through the first sector. Lenker's up by nearly a 1/10 of a second in the first, and purple as well. So going quicker on this lap around. Has to keep it nice and neat now around here. Doesn't want to run it too wide onto the gravel traps, which can catch many drivers out. But Lenker should be all good then as he flies down towards the Copse corner now. Where, of course, that famous Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen incident. Max with a 51G crash into the barrier there in Copse. And Lenker now through and up towards the end of Sector 2. Is this an improvement for him? It is. 0.3 of a second has been found on this lap so far for the Williams. 0.3 at the moment. At the minute, is it looking like it's going to get him into 7th? But if he finds more time in this final sector, if he can collect a little bit more, this could be good for Lenker here then. He needs a few tenths now to get ahead of our Paul in 7th. We'll find out just now if he has. He has done enough now. Nearly 0.6 of a second improvement for Lenker. P7 then with a 1:28.617. And now has got quite a bit of time between him and the man in front of Monkey. Well, 9 minutes to go of this quali session, ladies and gents, and many drivers on their outlaps. Diego's on his outlap, Andre, Andy, Edu Vortex as well as Kian and Sergio Perez down in P11. So we're going to find out who's going to be the first one to start their lap. It's looking like Andy here across the line, and we're going to watch along with him then with 80% battery for Andy Siflord. We'll see. This can be a better time for him. Already has got a lot of pace behind him after lining up on 4th place on his banker lap, on his first lap around. And it's a 1:27.346. Not much of a time between him and his teammate, but Condus then. What a time! 1:26.142. And Condus with a 1:26. Only 0.03 of a second separate him and the man behind him, but he does take pole position. It's looking extremely tight on time then, up the top with the front few drivers now, and 3 of them into the 1:26s. That is incredible. Condors then nearly in a 1:25. That is a really, really quick time here in Silverstone. Absolutely rapid, and you don't see times like that very much. Really quick. Well, Diego then with a 1:26.036. He is now the quickest again. Overtakes Condols on time, a 10th and a half found in the on the previous lap. And the Alpine now on provisional pole here in ERS Racing League. Somebody just gained a place there. Maybe Andy Sith Lord as he cuts across the entire circuit in the first sector to try and get to the pit lane as quick as possible. Andre then has found 100th of a second in the first sector now through Maggots, then Beckett's, and towards the end of sector 2. Has he found any more time here? Down the hanger straight he'll go. He's found nearly 3.5 tenths of a second then on this lap, and with only 6.5 minutes to go, he has to make this count now. 1:27.151 is his time. This is going to set him on track for a 1:26. Absolutely. Here we go then, round the final few. And towards the line, onto the Hamilton straight. What can Andre do? Gets knocked down a place. Up towards the line. It's going to be P5. 3/10 improvement, but still a place gained. And in the 1:26 now. 1:26.783. Andy Sith Lord in 6, Edu Vortex in 7. We've got Kian there in 8 with a 2.1 second improvement on the last lap. Monkey in 9, 10 is Rich with a fuel light on. We've got Sergio Perez down in P13. Geordie in 15 and making his way around with a 7.3 second improvement on his last lap, which of course wasn't representable. But now through the final few corners here, and he's going to find out if he can get a decent time on the board here. From 15th place on the grid onto the Hamilton straight. What can Geordie do? 1:26 flat is going to make an improvement. It's a 1:27.5 now with an 8.5 second gap found. And Geordie now up into 9th place. So about midway through the grid, which is very nice for him. And decent lap time that he's put together. As DJ Forms down in P16. He's the only driver today yet to set a time in qualifying. We're waiting for him to do so as he makes his way around. And through Maggots and Beckett's here in qualifying with only a few minutes remaining now as well. So the drivers are going to be getting ready in the pit lane and then coming out and, getting themselves sorted for their final lap times of the day pretty much. This is going to be an exciting watch in the remaining few minutes of qualifying. DJ Forms, the only driver today that hasn't yet set a time. And we are going to watch it happen. Not now, we're not. He's got the fuel light on, so I don't think he'll be able to make it. I don't think he will. Oh, that was a lap time. 1:27.0, my apologies. DJ Forms was on the lap, and it's a 1:27.061. P6 for the Red Bull. Not a bad effort at all. Well, Kian has found 3/10 of a second in the middle, in the first sector, and now flying down the old pit straight into Copse Corner. He has got a lot of weight on his shoulders here from P9 on the grid, 1:27.459. Only needs about 1/10 of a second then to get into, not even 1/10 then, to get into 8th place. And then he's looking more like 2/10 to get ahead of that. Then it keeps building from there. He hasn't found any time. He's actually down now overall, unfortunately. But into the final few corners. Can he claw it back for the final corner? Potentially find some time in the final few. Kian needs to get this right if he wants to be starting higher. There won't be much more time now for a flying lap. Up towards the line then for the Mercedes. Onto the onto the Hamilton straight. And he's half a second down. No improvement for him. Here comes Lenker on another lap as well in the Williams car, 1:28.617. He's down by a quarter of a tenth. Well, if you look at the clock then, the first time you get to see it in a while, 2 minutes and 12 seconds remaining of qualifying. The clock is running down now. and you can start to see everybody starting to come out now. Won't have a lot of time left, and it is getting very late for the drivers to come out of the pit lane. The drivers that haven't come out, they need to get themselves out right now because they won't have much more time to do so. This is it now, make or break. Many drivers on their out laps. DJ Forms coming out of the pit lane now. You can see him coming down the pit lane in his Red Bull. And he's going to come out the pit lane now for an out lap, I believe, the Red Bull is. He is out onto the main track. DJ Forms, Andre Oken as well. Tesnold out there at the moment, getting ready for another lap. Condors then in second place on an out lap, and Diego up towards the line with the fuel light on and potentially pushing for one final lap. But will he run out of fuel on this lap around? That is the main question. Peter Schwartz then at the back, not finding any time today. Lenker is down by 2 seconds as well. Our pool on the lap at the moment through the middle sector. We didn't get to through the first sector. Sorry, we didn't get to see if he's found any time here. But down in P13 has a lot of time to gain. Edie Vortex starting a lap now then, as well as quite a few others. Andy Sif Lord out there through the first sector, but down by 1.4. Diego, of course, he was on the lap. Now he's down by a quarter of a tenth of a second. He has got time to find 126.036 and on the brink of 125 territory. It is more than possible here for Diego, but he has to get this right through Maggots and Beckett's. It's an absolutely insane lap then for this Alpine, who is flying here in Silverstone and getting the power down at the exact right time. The car sticking to the ground, and the downforce is incredible as the rear wing opens then and throws the car into the right-hand side. And you can see how well it is set up as it responds exactly to the steering input from Diego now into the final chicane and towards the line onto the Hamilton straight. Can Diego get in the 1:25s over the line? He runs out of fuel towards the line. Diego, oh no. A 126.036 on provisional pole, but it's not looking like he's going to improve. And that is the end of his lap for him. It is now Condols in second place, who makes his way in towards the pit lane. That'll be the best from him. Tesno then with 0.2 of a second improvement over the second sector line. Now 3.5, nearly 0.4 of a second found on this lap. This is looking really good for the McLaren then, and 0.3 will definitely get him in the territory of Diego here if he can continue this up now, up towards the final few corners, the final chicane here for the British Grand Prix qualifying session for Tier 5, Round 5 in ERS Racing League. Can Tesnold get pole over the line today? He can take pole, and the first driver into the 1:25s. An incredible lap time from Tesnold, a 1:25.992. Nobody thought it could be done, but Tesnold has done it, and the first driver and only driver today in the 1:25s. Incredible stuff from Tesnold, who takes pole position ahead of Diego on the front row of the grid with him. Monkey, the only driver to make his way around, and he is stopped now, so that is it. Tesnold on pole ahead of Diego on the front row of the grid with him in P2. Incredible qualifying session at the end. Well, here we go then, everybody. The finishing results for qualifying this evening here for the British Grand Prix. And at the very end, Tesnold takes pole position by 0.04 of a second over Diego in the Alpine second place. He lines up on the front row of the grid with him. Then two Mercedes come and lock out the second row of the grid. Then it's Andre in 5 in the Racing Bull. Andy 6, DJ Form 7, Monkey 8, 9 is Edu, and 10 is Kian. Next up is your Grand Prix. Be back very, very shortly. Well, we are back then, ladies and gentlemen, and on the grid for the formation lap here for the British Grand Prix. It is Tesnold who took pole position then in qualifying, and I've got to admit, one of the best times I've seen in a long, long while. For Tier 5, that was incredible then. Tesnold with a great time. Welcome into the chat. Hello, mate. Welcome in. Hopefully you're all doing very well in the chat tonight, and glad you're all joining us this evening for the start of what is set out to be a really, really good race. Do not go anywhere for this race start then, everybody, because it is going to be a good one. And it is Tesnold starting from pole position as he makes his way through Cops. He has Diego behind him as well. And they were so close on time. Do not count Diego out. This is going to be a really good fight up at the front. And something you don't get to see very often. This is going to be a great battle. Tesnold really fast. Diego was so close to getting in those 1 minute 25s. Tesnold just did it. An incredible lap time. But qualifying is far different to a Grand Prix, and he has to get this right. Race pace, of course, is much different to pushing one lap on a quali pace. So we'll see how Tesnold carries the pressure. It's not a long run down in towards turn 1. It's not too long, sorry, down this pit straight. As the drivers line up on the grid. I'm waiting for the final few to get there as they come around the final corner. And Peter Schwartz at the back of the grid then will be the final driver to line up. And then we can kickstart the British Grand Prix. As we watch from the front then, ladies and gentlemen, here for ERS Racing League. Round 5 for the British Grand Prix, and it's lights out and away we go. In a brilliant start from the McLaren up in front, then he goes ghosted in towards turn 1. Diego takes the inside line. Diego leads through turn 1 here at Silverstone. Diego in P1, Tesnold 2 then. It is Condals in 3, Oken in 4. But a great start from the drivers here as Diego up one place. It's all tussling here at the back. That is the Red Bull of DJ Forms. Looks up the inside line trying to get ahead. Also Andy as well. Now Andy goes around the outside of the Red Bull. He is through. The Haas in the backside there of Kian gets spun around. Kian down to P15. He had a bad footing there and his rear slid out then. I believe got hit there and Kian went around, unfortunately. The battles continue up at the front though, side by side between Monkey and DJ Forms. The McLaren gets ahead of the Red Bull for a moment, but can he hold his place here on lap 1 of 26? They're battling brilliantly up at the front and mid-pack as well as they make their way through Copse Corner now and towards Maggots and Beckett. Diego leads then to Tesnell 2. And it's Condors in 3. He's got his teammate Okensonga then trying to make an overtake on him when he can find the gap on the backside of him here then and towards the hanger straight now, loses a bit of time and has some work to do here. As you can see, Monkey as well trying to pull out of the way here. As the Red Bull of DJ Forms getting ever closer, wanting to make this overtake now up the inside line. DJ Forms through into P7. Monkey drops the place down to 8. And now across the line on lap 2 of 26. But 25, 24 laps of racing remaining. Diego then as your leader after taking the lead from Tesnord on the first lap of the race. Geordie unfortunately 5 places down. He is at the back of the grid today. Kian up in P15. Peter Schwartz then 14, 2 places up from lap 1. Lenka 13. Sergio Perez 12 is Arpold in 11. Idu in 10. Richard 9. Monkey 8. 7 DJ Forms, and the list continues on. Really, really nice battles and racing from the start. As we head down the old pit straight again, and somebody's around. It's Idu off the side of the track here onto the grass. As through past him goes the Williams of Peter Schwartz, and Kian off the track now into the wall, onto the gravel traps. What is going on with Kian here? It looked like his wheel disconnected then as he just went straight into a wall there. And waits for the Aston Martin, and then he's back on the circuit. He is retired. He's actually been disconnected now. Kian is out of the Grand Prix here in Silverstone, and his AI will just keep going around the circuit now then. But Lenka and Sergio Perez swap places down in P11 and 12. That's a great overtake for Lenka up the inside, and he takes P11 quite well there. Can the Ferrari take it back? He cannot, as Tesnod takes the fastest lap of the Grand Prix as they cross the line now. But a great start to the racing action this evening. Diego is your leader, and behind that, Tesnod and Condors aren't too far away from each other. This Mercedes is getting ever closer to the McLaren, and actually, if he keeps at this pace, he's going to get his moment in the sun here for second place. Can he make the overtake? He's got slightly less ERS then than Tesnod at the moment, and 23 laps of racing. We have more, so a long way to go in this race still. And running it a bit wide for Condors there as he loses time, and that has a domino effect now as his teammate Okensonga is going to really get a bit of time here and gain as much as he can. Now onto the backside slightly, but now he has a bad right turn and he just keeps coming in waves then. And Condors now back on the backside of Tesnod. Goes deep into the left-hander chicane. The back end slides out as well. Has to catch it in a slide and compromises his exit. Well, if you're in the chat then, ladies and gentlemen, if you're in the chat, give us a race prediction. Who do you think's going to win this Grand Prix this evening? Diego is looking like a good contender, isn't he? Tesnod might not let him have it, though. You never quite know. However, we have got, of course, Condors behind. He's putting on some thick pressure. As Monkey with a 3-second time penalty on the 4th lap of 26. Ladies and gentlemen, Diego is your leader though, like I mentioned, and he really is holding it well at the moment. Up in front, Tesnil too, and he's still got the Mercedes putting the pressure on now. A much better corner there for Oken Song-er as the backside of Condors then slides out. Here comes his teammate up the inside line. There's an overtake for Oken, then back onto the podium places for the first time today. Now his work is to try and push ahead and not let Condors back past. Andre's behind that in 5. Andy's behind that in 6, and he's got DJ Forms on the backside of him. DJ Forms then for an overtake here, potentially the Red Bull looking to make his overtake on the Kick Sauber, not too far away here. And if he can get the next few corners right, he'll have a good setup for a slingshot past him. It's looking pretty good so far for the Red Bull. Not much ERS left though, and the DRS activated for both drivers. Oh, again, the back end sliding out for Andy. It's such a shame, you know, when they're on a good run and then the back end slides out. DJ doing what he can here to catch up and capitalise on the situation, but right now not being able to. Back to the front then. Diego with a 1-second gap over Tesno. Tesno's really struggling here because Oken is going to be putting the pressure on. Of course, he was feeling the heat from Condors earlier on before he lost his footing. ED Vortex in 12, then Sergio Perez gets overtaken by him in the Ferraris. He drops down a place now in P13 into the pit lane. A very long pit lane here in Silverstone. And he will go in now. He was on the soft compound tyres, so definitely making a pit stop now for the mediums or the hards. It's going to be the mediums then. Well, lap 6 of 26 now, then 20 laps to go. Condors with a 3-second time penalty. That's really not what he wants to be getting here. 3 seconds this early on, not ideal at all. And now he needs to try and hope for the drivers around him to pick up a penalty, because that is going to screw him over quite a large amount. Here we go then, DJ Forms and Andy with a potential overtake. DJ into P6 ahead of Andy. Oken Song-er as well on the backside. Thank you very much for the follow, mate. I appreciate that very much. Is Andy in the pit lane now, and his mediums maybe are a bit ruined, or he needs a new wing potentially. We'll find out as he's in there now, getting some new tyres. Yeah, just the new hards then for him. But back to the front of the pack then, where the action still continues. And you can see Tesno getting ever closer to Diego here. But Diego with a really good job so far. He didn't start in P1. He started 2nd place. But at the moment, holding that lead pretty well. As the back end sliding out, that was really, really sketchy then for the Alpine. A bit too trigger happy on the throttle. Peter Schwarz then coming out in P16 at the back of the grid and quite far behind everybody else as well here at the moment. So seems to be really struggling here for the British Grand Prix today. Here's Oken then on the backside in the McLaren of Tesno, and it's a 3-way fight here for the lead. Lap 7 of 26. soon to become lap 8 of the Grand Prix as the drivers make their way round and towards the line onto the Hamilton straight. Can Oken find enough time here to get ahead of Tesnold is the question. As Lenko with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. That is huge. He's in there with Monkey then, who is coming out of the pit lane at the same time. And Lenko in there with a 10-second time penalty, of course, will not get to serve it on this go around due to only just getting it in there. As Tesnold only 0.3 of a second behind the race leader once again, and Oken not too far behind that either. All within a few tenths of a second here, and both Oken and Tesnold on the exact same amount of ERS battery here. Oken has to get these this sequence of corners right, and it wasn't ideal. Much better exit there for Tesnold, who's going to get the DRS activated on Diego now, down towards the final few corners. Braking hard, but running it wide then. And that's going to bring the Mercedes in. And towards the line. Are we going to get an overtake? It's getting ever closer. Still not enough. DJ Forms in the pit lane now then. It is a brilliant calibre of racing for the drivers here. It really, really is. Giving it absolutely everything up at the front. Good action that we're witnessing tonight on lap 9 of 26 as in the pit lane for DJ Forms as well as our pool. And still Tesnold looks for the overtake and fails after trying to make his way through. And a great overhead camera of the drivers and the top 4 fighting it out for the race lead. And it's so well executed for them. Look how well spread they are then, making their way through. It's so good to see with the top 5 being so close with each other then. And they keep getting ever closer, but then something happens, knocks them off their footing a little bit. Well, in the pit lane for Oken. Oken in the pits. Nobody else decides to do the same thing, but Oken in there then and going for hard compound tyres. As the 10th lap of the race begins. And in the pit lane for the Racing Bull of Andre. Well, a really interesting race today at the moment, and the battle for the lead has been better than ever. It's an Alpine against the McLaren against the Mercedes, and Lenko with a 3-second time penalty, now 13 seconds that he has accumulated. Into the pit lane for Condols, and Diego. Tesnold continues on. And now he gets back through. Tesnold, your leader, as he is on the hard mediums, never mind, on the mediums, as well as Diego and Condols. So is he going to go a lap later and try and overcut this? DJ Forms then looking for an overtake here on Andy, who's currently in second place. The Red Bull getting ever closer to the Kick Sauber. And now down towards Brooklands we go. Will this be an overtake? He's getting ever closer, but not a lot of battery to help him in his mission to make this overtake. Now slips up the inside line on Andy. And is he going to get back through? He is going to get through. DJ Forms into second place in the Grand Prix on the 2-lap old hard compound tyres. He's got 22 seconds though to Tesnold as Geordie now makes a move up into P7 ahead of Monkey. Round the outside line into Cop's corner. That was incredibly close. Geordie gets through into P7. Monkey down to 8, and it's Condals then in 9 after, of course, coming out of the pit lane on brand new tyres. Tesnold in the pit lane and picks up a 10-second time penalty. That is huge for a driver racing that high up the grid. That's going to massively affect him now then as he gets new tyres on. And it'll be the hards now. Wow, that's extremely tough for him to take. You know, really, really sad to see. Whoa. The back end there sliding out for the Red Bull as he just about corrects it. DJ Forms as your leader. Oaken Song then with 2-lap old hards on the backside of Andy Sith Lord. But will it be an overtake as he puts the pressure, and the pressure's mounting on Andy here. The back end slipping away from underneath him, and now the front does the same. Andy Sith Lord then with a 3-second time penalty. And speaking of that, we're going to have a look how many people have got. 13 for Lenka, 3 for Peter Swartz. It is Monkey with 3 as well as Condals and Andy, and Tesnold with 10, which is just huge. And he will not be happy with that at all. But there's your tyres on your screen. You can see the difference between the drivers that have stayed out for longer periods and drivers that have, you know, just gone in. Tesno being one of them that have just gone in, as well as Condals and Diego too, who's already up in 4th place and really in the mix of the drivers here, as well as Oaken Song. It's Peter Schwartz then with a 3-second time penalty. It looks like somebody's gone around there as well, and he has. It's Peter Schwartz at the back in P15 in the back end, sliding around for him. As lap 13 of 26 does mark halfway through the Grand Prix, ladies and gentlemen. As he makes a pass, does Oaken Song ahead of Andy Sith Lord. Now he goes ahead. Diego's the next driver to make an overtake on him, and he's into P3 very easily then. He's going to make this stick most definitely, isn't he? Trying to get ahead of the Kick Sauber here, just about pulled in front there with a bit of extra speed and power, and through goes the Alpine. Diego now on the podium here in Silverstone. Andre and Andy Sith Lord then in P4 and P5. These guys are having a really nice battle at the back then, and potential overtakes on their way. Oh, that was close then. Big contact. Tesno makes contact with Andy Sith Lord. We didn't see it from the exterior angle there, but Tesno with a huge contact to the backside of Andy, almost T-boning him up the inside line. And luckily, no damage really on the front of his car. How has that happened? I've got no clue. Tesnel's still running in P6, however, the gap's now 1.6. Oken then is on a battle here for the race lead ahead of DJ Forms. He knows he's got Diego creeping up behind him, and he knows that he's got a bit of work to do here. He needs to get ahead of DJ Forms to give himself a little bit of a barrier and a bit of breathing room. But Geordie as well gets ahead of Andy Siflord here. Geordie into P8 as Peter Swartz then with a 3-second time penalty. And up to the front of the pack then, it's DJ Forms fighting with Oken Song-er. Can Oken get ahead in the Mercedes, He's on the outside line here, trying to pull ahead. Can't do it just yet then, but holding on to the back end of him. Down towards Cops Corner we go, where you don't really want to be making an overtake. Well, second place is Oken's, but he wants that P1, and now he goes for it for the first time today. It is Oken Song-er for a moment in the race lead, but the Red Bull with a little bit extra pace around the outside line has managed to hold that place in first. But how long for? As the Mercedes now will take the inside line, looks for it again. The Red Bull gets pushed wide. Can the Mercedes take it? He still can't do it, and TJ really putting up a good fight here, and this is all just helping Diego now, isn't it? Right to the backside, he's closing in on them. And only 10 laps of racing remaining. As Geordie with a 10-second time penalty as well for speeding in the pit lane. He will be really, really angry about that one. As Oken Song-er up the inside line, Oken takes the Grand Prix lead ahead of DJ Forms, and at the same time, Diego's going to try and get his piece of this as well. He's going to go up the inside. Now he's going to try and gap the Red Bull, who's not going to let him go this easily. DJ's been giving it a really good battle today. Down to third place, now, as Diego up to second place and makes that move finally. Now this is it. Oken then as your leader, Diego in P2. Diego we've seen normally, or today anyway, has been the faster driver. But can Oken now pull something back? Yellow flag standing somebody severely in the barrier there. It's Peter Schwartz then. We have our first safety car of the night then, everybody. Safety car deployed for Peter Schwartz at the back, who's been having a huge issue with his car today. Safety car is out, and we are going to get some pit stops now. New tyres, expect it, because Edu as well with a drive-through penalty. He'll definitely be in the pit lane today. The drivers that are already round there have gone straight into the pits. Richard and our Paul and a few more will do the same when they get there. I think Lenk has just gone into the pit lane too. Yeah, he has. As Oken and the rest of the drivers, when they get towards the line, will go into the pit lane for new tyres, surely. Or is there going to be a few that won't do that? Peter Swartz then disqualified from the session for driving the wrong way, as him and Geordie both out of the Grand Prix tonight. In the pit lane for Diego Ocon, Forms, Tesnold, Andre, Condols and Monkey all in the pit lane then. And this is looking good for some drivers that can get rid of their 10-second time penalties. Well, if you're just joining us, a quick update tonight then for lap 18 of 26, where a safety car has been deployed. And will it go in this lap? Will it not? It's looking like we're going to go racing lap 20 potentially here, and give us 6 laps of racing remaining until the end. That's looking like it, as it would be announced already now that we're going racing. So yes, looks like another lap around then. Sergio Perez, the 3-second time penalty here. Right then, the safety car should be coming in at the end of this lap. Or is it going to come in the end of this lap? We'll see then. Safety car still. It's not. We're going again. We are going again then. The drivers are going to have to endure one more lap behind the safety car. It will be lap 21 we go racing. And 5 racing laps we will get then, everybody. It's been a great night for racing tonight, but unfortunately the safety car does ruin the flow of things. However, this is going to give us some good final 5 laps of racing, of course. And I do prefer that over no battles till the end. This will be good fun now. Well, it is lap 20 of 26 then, and we get some position changes at the back here. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. Lenka slows down and loses loads of places. Edu's doing the same thing. With the safety car in at the end of this lap then, and they're going to have to catch up now. Richard with a 10-second time penalty for ignoring yellow flags as we get ready for racing again. And Diego this time will be your leader on 2-lap old hards compared to the 2-lap old mediums of Oaken. Oaken's bound to be quicker here on the mediums till the end. He is bound to be quicker. And maybe the mediums was the strategy. Maybe this was the call. There's Andy Siflord with a 10-second time penalty. Here we go then. We go racing again here in Silverstone for the remaining 5 laps of racing action. Diego leads them through the turn 1 and 2. Tesnell with a 3-second time penalty now through the first few corners. He's got 3 after picking up a 10 earlier and then getting rid of it. Now he picks up another penalty. He is really struggling today. Diego, though, is your leader by 1/6 of a second over Oaken in second. DJ Forms then third. Andre in 4 and 5 and 6 here is Condors and Tesnell. This could be an overtake here for the McLaren, getting ever closer. Over the line then, lap 22 of 26 begins, and the fastest lap for Oaken, who really is, you know, enjoying the medium compound tyres today. Sergio Perez and Edu Vortex down in P10 and 11. Swap positions as Sergio gets ahead, and it is Vortex in the pit lane. As Andy Siflord, Geordie and Peter Schwarz then all out of this Grand Prix tonight, leaving us with 13 remaining drivers here. Here comes Monkey and Tesnell as well. Oh, Tesnell's round. That's why he fell the places so fast. That is such a shame then for the McLaren. He's down in P11. Bearing in mind, this guy started on pole, I believe. Yeah, it was pole, yeah. And down to P11. 10 places lost. Not ideal at all. As DJ Forms, the 3-second time penalty, he's had a right good comeback with 4 places gained from him. P7 that he started with this evening. He's really had a jump in places as lap 23 begins now. Well, Diego leading, but Oken here really has to make an overtake very soon if he wants to get this done. Not many laps to get the overtake done and dusted with now, and has a lot of work on his hands. 0.3 of a second the gap between him and Diego in front. And he is getting closer. Will it be an overtake then towards the Hamilton straight? We're not too sure about that then. Up towards the line, Oken doing what he can here for lap 24 of 26. We have 3 more laps, including this one, I believe. Still not enough there for an overtake. It must be so annoying here for Oken, knowing that he's on quick tyres, but just cannot find the pace to get ahead of Diego here. But this is it. Look at the gap. And this could be the time we see it down the hanger straight now then. Can the Mercedes make this overtake on the Alpine as the Alpine weaves wide then to try and break the toe? Here comes Okensonger then for an overtake. Still nowhere near enough there to make it. As he gets ever closer and he knows the time is now. This is the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix they go on to then now, ladies and gentlemen. That means the second to last. And Diego with a bit of a snap there. Here comes Oken then for an overtake, and can he take the race lead today? Both of them without a penalty. This is raw pace, and wherever they finish will actually be, of course, where they finish at the end of the race. That was insanely wide for Oken. Now comes the Red Bull of DJ Forms then. He isn't too far away here. It's DJ Forms through past. DJ Forms into third. Okensonger second place. Diego as your leader. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the final lap we go on to now. Andre looking for an overtake here on the Red Bull, but cannot make it stick. The drivers make their way down now towards the final few corners. And up towards the line. Lap 26 of 26 begins. Here we go then. This is it, the final running of the evening. Diego as your leader, 0.5 of a second ahead of Oken, who's doing what he can to make this overtake, but honestly, he really is struggling to do it. He's also now got the Red Bull of DJ Forms, who has got a time penalty, so even if he does make an overtake, will lose this place. Andre is in a really good place here. Andre could be on for a podium. He is on for a podium if he stays in this place. It is the final lap of the Grand Prix. Diego looking like your winner as it stands. Oh, off wide there then is DJ Forms up the inside line. He now gets into second place for a moment. The Mercedes is fighting with the Red Bull. They are side by side in towards the final few corners here on the final lap. It is Okan Songer who holds second place, but up to the front, Diego, who took second place. Front row of the grid then in qualifying. He's made it work today, and round the final corner, the Alpine with a sensational drive. He wins the British Grand Prix. It is Okan Songer for second place. Andre takes the final spot on the podium in third. DJ Forms, unlucky at the end with the penalty, takes fourth. Condos then will take 5 in the pit lane. P6 then for Monkey. Paul takes 7, 8 for Rich. 9 will be Tesnold. And the list goes on. It's Kian, the last driver to cross the line when he gets there. Here we go then, Diego then as your race winner, ladies and gentlemen. It is the fastest lap to Okan Songer, most overtakes to Edu, and cleanest driver to Diego. That is it from me. Thanks very much for joining me this evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to be back again for ERS Racing League.